Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually going to talk about something that so many of you have been asking me about. It is how to run a business and grow on social media. I'm going to talk about two parts. So one is business, and that could be you being a makeup artist or a photographer, or it could be just anybody that's thinking of opening up their own business. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be anything. I'm gonna just like share my experience as an entrepreneur. The second half is going to be about social media, because I think it's great to be able to grow your business on social media, but you might just want to be a content creator or an influencer, so that might help you as well. Right, social media. So the top 7 sites in the world at the moment, I have it written down in this order, is Facebook. Okay, Facebook is number 1, YouTube is number 2, Instagram is number 3, TikTok number 4, Twitter number 5, Pinterest number 6, and Snapchat number 7. So this was the order sort of last year. I haven't really checked, but in terms of statistics, Facebook, out of the 7.8 or nearly 8 billion people in the world, 30% of them use Facebook, which is why I have a Facebook business page. That was the first social media site that I opened anyway. It's a different demographic, but I do think it would be useful. 25.6% use YouTube. I'm pretty sure a lot of people use YouTube without being subscribed or without having an account, which you can. You can just Google it and find so many YouTube videos that you can watch, right? So think of the kind of access you have to YouTube. So I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now as well. It does pay me, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And then it's Instagram and TikTok next, I would say. They're about 10% of the 8 billion people that use Instagram, and then another 10% that use TikTok. TikTok is something quite new to me, but I will talk about that as well. Right, so building your brand on social media. Okay, so even if you are a content creator or an influencer, essentially you are, or you become, a brand, you know, and that's what you're really doing, right? I mean, unless you're just opening up a social media page for like your friends and family, that's different. But if you are trying to make money, or you're trying to promote your business, you know, as a service provider on social media as well, I would say, you know, yeah, either way, it's a brand, it's a business. So the first thing you would want to do when somebody looks at your social media is to understand what you do. Like, what is this business about, or what is this brand about? It's easy for, let's say, a service provider, if they're a makeup artist or a hairstylist or a photographer or a sari vendor or, I don't know, a dressmaker, because pretty much you would want all of that to be seen on their page. So as soon as you look at the page, you're just like, oh, okay, this person's a photographer, and that's what they provide. And that's great. But then the next thing would be, well, how are you different from all the other photographers, or how are you different from all the other makeup artists? Like, there needs to be something that you do, you know, whether it's in terms of the kind of content you create, the kind of posts that you post, maybe the captions that you write, or what's even written in your biography. Writing something in your biography, and it's almost like it's that little bit that captures the audience. In your biography, you would want to write something that really, you know, makes you stand out, that makes you unique. Like, I've made sure that my one says exactly what I do, you know, all the things that I do, but also that I'm Tamil, and I feel like that sets me apart, because sometimes people, when they look at me, they can't really figure out where I am from originally, or what language I potentially speak, and I kind of feel like that kind of helps, because then again, it's just like a biography. People can see what you do, you know, who you are, in just a few lines. So that needs to be really powerful, I think. And then again, it's your content. Like, what do you share? What do you show? Is it educational? Do people learn something from it? Are they just following you because they want to support you because you're part of their community, or are they actually following you because they learn something from you? And I feel like social media has changed so much over the years that now I feel like that is what people want. When they follow somebody, they want to be inspired, they want to learn, and they want to educate themselves. That's usually what, not even usually, that is how things are now. People just want information, if that makes sense. They don't get as excited about you posting very personal things. I mean, here and there it's nice because it's your personality, and a brand needs to know who you are, right? Like, and who you are to the core and your soul and things like that. That's nice. But you know, and everyone's different. Some people like to share their family on there sometimes, and or their pets, and it's just like really cute. I keep my page very private when it comes to my personal life, and I kind of just share fun things here and there, but other than that, it's predominantly beauty and lifestyle related. But again, you know, it's taking me years, but then also over the years, you know, because I've, you know, like my age, like I was in my early 20s when I was on Instagram, and you know, I've grown over the years that my content has sort of like changed with the years and stuff as well. So again, trying to stay relevant, trendy, things like that. But yeah, when you initially are about to open an Instagram page, or you maybe already have an Instagram page, but you're kind of a little bit like, I don't know, the algorithm doesn't get me, or I'm not sure what to do. The first thing I would definitely say is do not compare yourself with others. You know, maybe write down a list of things of like, why are you different? Why should somebody book you? Or why do you think you're special or unique? Like, and make those lists and then sort of aim to create content based around that. So the 3 social media pages that I use the most myself is Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm really sorry, there are renovations happening next door, so if it is a little bit noisy here and there, I do apologize. But yeah, so these are the 3 that I use, and these are the 3 that have worked for me. On Instagram, like I just said, it's beauty, lifestyle. It's very rare that I post my work on there anymore, because when I first started, my page was called Vithya Hair and Makeup. It was definitely my business name, it was definitely my brand, and I would post a lot of my work, a lot of my brides, a lot of shoots, anything that was sort of work related. But then whenever I used to post other stuff, like, you know, tutorials of me doing makeup or anything else that did not really involve my work, I realized I got a lot more engagement and a lot more sort of, you know, I felt like that is what my followers wanted to see. So then I sort of rebranded over the years. I kind of stopped posting my work on there and just posted more of the things that I do. Again, lifestyle, blogging, beauty related content, fashion related content, and yeah, just kind of strictly kept it to that and didn't really post work on that anymore. However, on my Facebook page, because my Facebook page is a business page, it's still Vithya Hair and Makeup, so Instagram is now my name, Vithya Visvendra, because I regard myself more as a content creator on Instagram now. But then on Facebook, it's still Vithya Hair and Makeup, and on Facebook, I post all of my work. So every single bride I've ever worked with since the beginning of my career are all on there. The ones that were okay with being on social media are all on my Facebook page. So I predominantly use it more almost like a gallery where I just post all my work and people can see, even if I do shoots or if there's like anything major business related, it all goes onto my Facebook. And then my YouTube, again, less work, but it's more, again, lifestyle and beauty and tutorials and, you know, relevant, important videos like this, because you can't talk for that long on Instagram. And this is a lot easier because I find YouTube is where I have such a mixed demographic. So all my 3 platforms have different types of followers and different types of content. And I've made sure that I did that with all 3 platforms. I've separated them so much. And even though they're like in the same kind of theme, they are very different. They provide different information and they have different types of followers. And that way, even more exposure. I get to have so many people from around the world, different ages, follow me on one of these platforms. Even if they don't actually follow me, they get to see my stuff on YouTube or something. So they get to know who I am and my brand. So I think that would be a good idea as well, to kind of do different content on different platforms. So the TikTok, I predominantly just post a lot of the Tamil stuff or sari stuff, anything that's traditional, because I feel like that's really worked. I don't spend enough time on TikTok. I personally don't think UK is as obsessed with TikTok as America or Canada is. I feel like here it was a little bit different. Also, I fall under a slightly older demographic now. I feel like it's not really, I don't feel like it's my age group people. I don't know. So But yeah, I mean, I post, like I said, on TikTok, and I would say if you are younger, if you do feel like you're somebody who loves to do really fun, funny, random sort of content, TikTok is the one. So if you are very brave, not even brave, sorry, that's the wrong choice of word, but if you're somebody who's confident and absolutely loves being in front of the camera, I would definitely recommend TikTok. You can grow so much faster on TikTok, and but yeah, I think I'm a little bit, which is probably surprising to many, but I'm still a little bit too private for TikTok, and yeah. So, but like I said, I still use it. Right, how do you grow on social media? Now, just like the things that I've said, things like the biography, aesthetically pleasing, like, you know, you need to know what your content is about. It can't be just random. Like, you can't, I don't know, post so many beautiful, like, fashion related posts, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, you put a post up of like rabbits or something, you know, and again, it confuses people and it confuses your algorithm, and people will be like, wait, but she posts fashion, and then why is there pictures of rabbits? Like, I'm just saying as an example. So you kind of need to be really smart and strategic of how you do that. Also, consistency. I think consistency is like the main thing. You can't just post the one thing and you're just like, oh gosh, like that took so much energy and time, and I posted that one content, and then you don't post for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, naturally your content is not going to get pushed to all the new followers. Yes, your current followers, they'll get to see your new content again after the 2 weeks, but how do you find new followers? How do new followers find you? And because you need to be consistent, and even if it means that the kind of reels, which by the way is the big thing here, more than posts, it is definitely reels, videos, and you know, with trending songs, and you know, keep it short, keep it to the point, and then even when you do it and you feel like not many people have seen it, I didn't get many views or likes or whatever, it does not matter. Like, you still keep being consistent, because out of the, I don't know, 50 reels that you're gonna post maybe within 2 months, potentially 1 or 2 are going to go viral, and you know, you're going to get that exposure, and you're going to get, so you know, hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of followers, and that's just sometimes how it works. I remember I was stuck at a number for a really long time, almost a year. I was literally like, it was just not really, you know, and it did demotivate me, because I'm just like, okay, maybe I need to change up my content. So I did. I changed my content strategy a little bit, and I started posting these getting ready with me sari reels in Tamil, and that was it. The first one that I posted of that was millions of views. I think it was only like 1.4 millions or something, 1.4 million views, but I got nearly 30,000 followers just from that one reel. And then there are reels that I've gotten more than 1.4 million. I've got this one reel that I did that was 2 million views, but I got like maybe 200 followers out of it. So you can't ever predict, because whenever your content gets pushed forward and somebody sees your reel for the first time, they obviously look at your entire page, right? Naturally, that's what you would do. If you see something really fun, you're like, oh, who is this? And you click on their profile, and then you look at their profile, and then you decide if you want to follow them or not. Because if that one reel was just such a random one-off, but the rest of their content is just like not really relatable to you, you're not going to follow them, right? And that's why I changed the way I've done my content, and I'm just like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. So I've just made a list and I've worked on it. I still feel like I could spend a lot more time doing that, but because my full-time career is bridal hair and makeup, like that's my profession, that's my bread and butter, I kind of do the content creating on Instagram on the side. It's more like a hobby, something that I enjoy. I don't focus on PR events, I don't focus on getting paid for my content so much. Like it's literally just like, maybe someday, but obviously if you are thinking of doing content creating full-time and you want to become an influencer full-time, then you need to start thinking about all the things that I've just said, you know, aesthetics, biography, what your page is about and stuff like that. But then, and this is where it comes as well. This is like one of the main things. Collaborations. You would want to collaborate with people. And yes, of course, if you reach out to loads of brands, they'll happily send you free stuff, which, by the way, you would want to write a really nice template already made to write to all these HRs and businesses or Instagram DMs, you know, things like that, to just sort of like get them to start sending you packages or have you on their PR list and invite you to PR events and things like that. That is a separate thing that you could do and prepare. But collaborations, you want to reach out to businesses if it's your community, like i.e. if you're a makeup artist, you would want to collaborate with photographers, you would want to collaborate with models, you would want to collaborate maybe with you know, clothing businesses and, you know, do shoots with them and stuff. And then, you know, that way so many more people have that exposure, right? Like you get exposure because people see your work and they're like, oh, who did the makeup for the shoot? Oh, this person did the makeup for the shoot. And that's how you kind of grow again and people start following you and stuff. So the way you follow is exposure. You want as many people to see you, right? And that's when they start following you. But how would that happen if you're not consistent, your page is all over the place, your page is random, you don't collaborate enough, you're just kind of sitting at home scrolling through Instagram, and then you ask people questions like, how do you grow on social media? So these are the things that have worked for me. And at the moment, again, I've not really had much time to do collaborations. It was something that I definitely did at the beginning of my career a lot. Nowadays, I don't really get to do that so much. I don't really get to work with a lot of small businesses anymore either, just because I've just been so busy with work. But I would definitely recommend for you to do that, and then just kind of work with people and stuff. And then eventually figure out how much you want to charge for posting content or things like that, but not at the beginning, guys. Like I would say at the beginning, all you want to focus on is growing. You want to sort of like build relationships with businesses, communities, and then once you get to that point where you're just like, wait, I don't have time for this, so I think I'm going to charge because, you know, and then it's okay and then it's fair and people would respect that and people will understand, you know. So yeah, that's what I would probably say. Right, YouTube. YouTube is the one that pays me, okay? So YouTube is the one that pays you based on the ads that are being played in your video, okay? You can only monetize if you're not using copyrighted music or copyrighted content. So if I do an amazing video, but my background music is like a really cool Vijay song, I'm not going to make money, no matter how many adverts are playing, because you've copyrighted, so you don't get money. So usually there's a lot of free music on YouTube, but sometimes you don't even need to have a background music. You could just actually create content, and that's good enough, and you can sort of share. YouTube requires a lot more work because it's not just the editing. It's obviously the captions, the description, a thumbnail, you know, something catchy, you know, and you don't want the videos to be too long, but you don't want them to be too short. There's just like a lot involved. And YouTube, I feel like, especially since lockdown, people's attention span has changed. So my views before lockdown used to be crazy. Like I used to get crazy views, and I'm so annoyed at myself that I didn't make use of that and didn't make use of the fact that I could have done 2 to 3 videos on YouTube a week, and I would have been able to quit my bridal career and just become a full-time YouTuber, because you can make that kind of money on there. If I'm, you know, I'm being serious. Like I know, or follow influencers, sorry, I don't know them personally, but I follow influencers who've bought houses and cars and, you know, mortgage-free houses, okay? All because of being full-time YouTubers and stuff. So you can make decent money. It's just, again, you need to spend so much time. I don't, again, get to spend enough time on YouTube. I am trying to release a video every Friday, which I have done this year. And so I've been getting like consistent payment through YouTube every single year and stuff. So to start YouTube, obviously, again, just open an account, have a nice brand name, business name. Sometimes it's nice to associate it with your brand. If you are a content creator, it would be your name. If you are a business, then it would be your business name, whichever you're comfortable with, really. And then in terms of equipment, I would say just get yourself a ring light. I'm using a very straightforward ring light that I bought on Amazon, and it was like 60 or 70 pounds. You don't need to go crazy on investing on like really like expensive cameras. When I first started YouTube, I would just use my phone. Like I would literally just, you know, get one of those little stands and then just like basically start recording. And then I invested in the camera that I'm using right now, which is the Canon G7X. Which is a vlogging camera, so it has like the screen that you can just flip forward so you can see yourself, which is what I'm doing right now. I think those are the kind of cameras that are really great, but obviously as you get better and you become like a full-time YouTuber, you can then invest in like so much more equipment, better cameras, you know, an actual big screen, connected sound, soft boxes, you know, backdrops. There's so many things that you could do, but then again, it depends. And you don't need to invest all of that at the beginning. I would say use your phone, use a decent light, or sit in front of the window, sorry, and a mirror if it's tutorials. But if you're just doing stuff at home, it could be anybody. You know, people love vlogs and people love anything that's like entertaining or useful. But again, it's about something that's educational and informative and, you know, where somebody learns something. Ultimately, that's what people want to, or inspiring, something that's inspiring. This is the kind of things that people want to see. And you know, if you know how to tie a tie in a much quicker way than what's already on YouTube, great, you'll probably get a viral video out of it. So I would definitely say, you know, it's never too late to start YouTube. Even if you are, I don't know, somebody who designs and sells saris or dresses, but then you open a YouTube account and you become a cook, okay? All of your stuff on YouTube is cooking recipes or you visiting restaurants around the whole of UK. That's amazing, because people will know you for that as well as this, and they can always associate because they get to know your personality. They're just like, oh, you know that one sari designer? Who? You know the one that cooks and is like super famous on YouTube? Oh, her, yeah, cooking recipes. So automatically they link you to like, oh, you're a designer, but then you also do this. So it's always nice to kind of like explore and but yeah, no matter what you do though, I think confidence is required. So if that's kind of holding you back, you don't want to put your face out there, confidence is bothering you, you don't think you're consistent enough, not because you don't have the time, but because you're so concerned about posting it, you're such a perfectionist, you're so worried about what people are going to say, you know, if it's out there. No, if you start thinking all of those things, I'm sorry, I can't really help you there much. Like, you need to break that barrier and you need to be like, right. And you always need to say to yourself, which I love saying to myself, by the way, is this going to matter in a year's time? If it's not, if nobody's going to care, you know, then do whatever you want, do whatever you enjoy. You know, life is too short, right? So yeah, definitely try and open a YouTube account, no matter who you are. You can make money. Last thing I'm going to mention is how to work with brands or how to work with influencers. So if you are a business and you want to work with influencers, naturally you want to reach out to, I mean, and I think naturally everyone does that. They want to work with the influencer that has the most following. Imagine in your community, you want to work with a top influencer, but then you need to be willing to pay. If you're not willing to pay, then you need to work with an influencer who's maybe just started out, doesn't have the same kind of following as an established person, but the starting out influencer or content creator would love the opportunity, and she would potentially do it for free, or she would even say, he or she, sorry, would probably even say, hey, just cover my travel and provide lunch or dinner and we're sorted, we're cool. And that's how it usually begins. But if you reach out to somebody right at the top of the game and you're kind of just like, hey, can we collaborate, and then like expect it for free, which I think is very, very unfair. So I think as a business, but then obviously it depends on your budget as well, right? So as a business, set yourself a budget. If you are going to do a shoot and you want to work with an influencer, set yourself a budget of like, how much are you willing to pay for the model, right? Like for the influencer, for the team, for, you know, putting together the shoot. All of that falls under your sort of hand, even though in your hands, under you. But even though you end up spending so much money, potentially, even if you make the list and you're like, oh my God, ultimately, imagine you are a sari designer or a sari vendor. You just need to sell a few of those saris and you just kind of make money back. And that's ultimately the goal, isn't it? You want people to purchase the product that you're trying to, you know, sell ultimately. So I think, you know, it's important to invest, you know, and think about it. We have access to social media. Back in the days, you didn't. You would have to pay a TV channel or a magazine to be able to promote your work, and that would be thousands of pounds that you would invest to advertise or promote your products, whereas now you can do that for free on social media. But if you're worried about people not really buying your product, or not enough people seeing it, then you start collaborating. And when you collaborate, again, you could work with a team who are all willing to do it for free because they're all growing as well, or you want a super established, amazing, experienced team, you have to be able to pay them. And another thing I would probably recommend, vice versa, if you're an influencer working with a brand, or vice versa, if you're a brand or business working with an influencer or content creator, are contracts. Contracts are really, really important so that you kind of know nobody gets exploited. And I feel like sometimes influencers or content creators get exploited by businesses. They might, in my case, that has happened so many times, which I'm really careful with now. Like, you would have brands who are just like, oh my God, can I send you a sari? Can you create content? And my thinking used to be, oh my God, I want to support this business, I want to help them. And then I create content for them, like usually pictures and videos, and I send it to them. They don't pay me. Like, in my head, I'm just like, oh, I got content and I got a free sari. But then they end up selling, I don't know, 10, 20 saris, make loads of money from you promoting it. And then on top of that, they use your content over and over again over the next few years. And then you're kind of feeling a little bit like, wait a second, what did I gain out of it? So you have to be really careful with how people use the pictures and the videos in the future. And so you need to say to them, look, this is a one-off campaign thing. Like, you know, again, all of this needs to be mentioned in contracts and stuff. If you're a business that wants to work with an influencer, put together a PDF file of what you expect that content creator or influencer to provide. You know, as in, imagine you just want a few stories with a link where the person can purchase your product. That's required. Or you want minimum 3 pictures, you know, where you can see the front view, back view, side view. Or you want a reel with like this background music, and this is the kind of script that you would want the person to mention. You know, make it their own, but obviously you want these kind of points to be covered because you want your business to be promoted. And then things like, when are you guys going to post? Who's got the most engagement? How are you going to do this? You know, and then saying things like, the influencer is not allowed to delete the content for 6 months. You know, it has to stay on her grid for 6 months or something. So there are so many things to consider. So if you already do a PDF file that's like a template that you can send to every influencer or content creator that you're going to work with for the you know, foreseen future, that would be a good idea to do as well. And if you're a content creator or influencer, you can put together a template of how much you charge for a post or how much you charge for a reel, and what it includes and what it doesn't include, and the extras. And then that little card of whatever you put together, that PDF file, should also share how many followers you have, what kind of engagement you get, what your top countries are, what your top cities are, what your age demographic is, so that for the business, they can then decide if they want to work with you or not. Because if they're just like, you know, I don't know, they want to sell a curry powder, but then they see that most of your followers are men, you know, under the age of 18 or something, boys, I guess, the business might be like, I don't think under 18-year-old boys are going to cook much, you know, so maybe you're not the right influencer. So that's the thing, like, as a business or a content creator, you kind of need to see what works for you, what fits your brand, what is relatable, what you think your followers like. And sometimes I say things that I don't like, you know, whether it's clothing, whether it's products, or brands, I might not particularly like them. But if they reach out to me and they say, hey, we're willing to pay you, like, can you promote me? I would not do that, because that's deceiving my followers, because then my followers are like, but wait, but you said you don't particularly like this brand, but then now you're creating a campaign, you know, for this brand. So you need to build trust. and these kind of relationships with your followers as well, so that they trust what you recommend. Again, in my case, I don't get paid content rarely. I mean, sometimes, but most of the time it's just stuff that I purchase myself, or it's sent to me gifted. But even if it's gifted and it's in part of a PR package, I only use the products that I've tried and liked, and I'm just like, oh, let me create like a video with this. The rest of the stuff I just kind of give away to my friends and family and cousins, because I'm like, well, I'm not going to use this. I don't particularly like it, so I don't want to really recommend it. I'm in a position to do that because I'm not a full-time content creator. I don't rely on money from content on Instagram, but obviously, you know, if it was the other way around, if I became a full-time content creator and I need to make money, I would probably promote a lot of products that I work with, and then you have to obviously post that you are, you know, this is an ad, it's a paid promo, you know, all of these things, which again, you need to look into. But most of the brands that you work with, they will probably tell you to do that anyway, because that's etiquette, and I think in some cases even legal or illegal. I'm not sure how it all works, because again, I don't really do that, but that's something to look for, to look into as well. My last point that I'm going to mention is just like, you know, on your social media platforms, maybe follow businesses or influencers or content creators you can relate to, you know, you find inspiring, you look up to, you respect, because that's where you're going to get your inspiration from. So when you follow their accounts and you see how they post stories, how they post content, the kind of brands that they work with or businesses they work with, or, you know, that's ultimately what kind of makes you realize, oh, so this is what's trending, or this is what's expected, or this is, you know, so that would be like a really good thing to do that as well. And you never know, sometimes you manifest it and then you get to work with some great brands and stuff like that as well. Ego is the last thing. I would say if you have arrogance or ego, or you think you're worth more or you're worthy of more and stuff at the beginning of your I mean, ego and arrogance is never great no matter when, but you know, just be humble. Like, be humble, start off, just work with people, you know, say yes to things, like kind of just grow, get to know the industry, get to know people. And something that I wish, or I regret so much, is that at the beginning of my career, I kind of burned bridges with people just because I didn't like their morals or values or principles, and I just thought, oh my god, they're not nice, or I don't like what they do, and so I'm gonna unfollow them, or I'm gonna block them, or I'm not gonna work with them again or something. When now in hindsight, I'm just like, nobody cares and none of this matters, and I've just lost out on so many opportunities, or, you know, all of these relationships. I'm not saying be fake, but I'm just saying don't get too attached or close to anybody, and don't take anything personal. At the end of the day, it's one of those things where try and get on with everyone, try and work with everyone, and unless somebody literally goes out of your way and tries to defame you on social media, there's no reason to kind of have a problem with people. And honestly, I personally don't actually have a problem with people or businesses. I know a lot of them do with me, but I'm just like, I don't, and I happily work with people and I happily provide. And I'm one of those people that if somebody says, hey Vithya, like, we would like you to work with a celebrity or whatever, how much do you charge? My first response is always like, I'm not going to charge anything. I would love this opportunity. And see, I think things like that are important as well, just to kind of see how much you want this, and not to make it about money all the time, but, you know, kind of like weigh it up and see the win-win sort of situation. But yeah, I think that's about it. Hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions about the social media part as well, or any of it, even the beginning part, do leave feedback. Let me know. These were obviously all my personal experiences and the way I did things and the way things worked for me. There's probably a lot of things that I could have done, you know, sooner or better, or could have grown even bigger. Whatever it is, I'm just happy where I am, and I'm quite content with where I am right now. And you know, try and not compare yourself, don't have regrets, and just be happy and enjoy what you do, basically. So yeah, that's all. Please, again, leave feedback, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and until next time,